It has been a long time since the last time that I recorded a photo editing tutorial, and there are actually two reasons for it. The first reason was that my old laptop was too slow. I couldn't make a screen recording and do photo editing at the same time every time my Lightroom started crashing, and it just was a horror to make these videos. And the second, I was questioning if there was any demand for these videos. But over the past few months, I'm getting more and more requests of people about these editing tutorials. And over the last 2 months, I am doing a couple of lectures for a big camera store. And in all those lectures, people are asking me about editing tutorials. So it was actually quite funny when that camera store, which I'm doing the lectures for, contacted me this week. And they asked me if I wanted to share with them a picture before and after editing, so they could share it on their Instagram and show how I edit my images. So I actually did that. I shared this image, and you can see it here on their Instagram. And actually this is the after image and this is the before image. And I just I thought it was funny to show you how I edited this image in real time in Lightroom. So let's dive into Lightroom, and I will show you how I edit this picture. And if we have some time left, maybe I'll do a second one. So there wasn't too much going on this particular image. So let's go into Lightroom. So this is the image that we are going to edit today, and you can see here this is the finished image. I just did a lot of color grading on this one. I think that was the main source here. And this is the raw file. You can see all those flat colors in this particular image. So the first thing that I did, I cut back a little bit here. I think I made it a 4/3 image, but I just reduced this a little bit, so the balance between this tree and this tree would be a bit the same. So I think I got a bit of this white on this side also. I think this is about the crop that I made for this particular image. Well, the first thing I always do, I go to this section up here, and I always select Adobe Landscape as a color profile on every image that I take. It's just a good starting point, and the nice thing about it is that if you always choose the same color profile as your starting point, the editing process is kind of similar to all your images. So I just really like those colors in that image. Not much going on. I'm just reducing those highlights a little bit. You can see here that there are a lot of highlights. We will fix this a little bit later on. I'm pulling up the shadows a little bit. I think this tree on the left side here is a little bit too dark. My whites, I have to be a bit careful with those, but I do like the punch that it gives to the image. You can see if you pull it up, it makes a lot of more saturation in the color. So not too much, just a little bit, and then the blacks a little bit down. So I think I reduced the contrast a little bit, and I think a bit more clarity in this image. And I always reduce the dehaze here on the bottom. I just do it a little bit of dehazing. I don't like this really crisp images, and with this dehaze button they get a little bit softer, which I actually prefer. You see, I don't do much with the white balance. You know, if you change this, it immediately gets too yellow or too blue. I don't really like to play around with this. Maybe just a little bit, just a slight touch of more yellow in this, but I prefer to do this section all the way down here in the calibration tool. I think this is where most of the images that I have come to life. This is where you take this flat raw file colors into these beautiful, saturated, nice colors. But it's all very gentle, so be careful with those sliders, especially if you haven't done it that much. There are a lot of people that would say just pull the blues to the right, and you can see here if you do that, it already gives a very big punch to the image. But I don't prefer to do that. I'd like to do it subtle and on every color. So I always just shift around these colors and think to myself, what do I want this image to look like? You can see that if I pull this slider to the left, you get a lot more reds, and on this side a lot more yellows. And I think in this case I went for a little bit more yellow in this image. And with the slider underneath it, it's the saturation, you can even adjust it more. And with this one, you can adjust the greens of the image. So you can make the greens a little bit more green or a little bit more yellow. And on this side I went a little bit to the right and just a little bit with this one. And then I just saturate the blues a little bit. Always be careful with this blue slider, because in a lot of cases, in this case there's not much blue in the image, but if you move it too much, you get too much blue in the image, and especially in the shadow section. So what I always do, if I have too much blues after this, I go back up to my color grading here and I reduce the blues in this particular section. And you can see it if you look in this area here. There is actually a lot of blue in this, but it just looks yellow. But this is about it, I think, what I did. Then I didn't like these white stripes over here. So what I did, I used a pencil here as a layer mask, and I colored it. Doesn't get too you don't have to be so precise, you know, it's actually very easy. And over here there's also a little bit of those white tones over here, and on the left top here there's also a lot of whites, which I don't like. I'm actually going to turn down those blues that I just mentioned. Let's see, where is that section? It's right over here. So I'm turning down those blues a little bit. And also here is a little bit of white, and here and at the bottom here. So I've selected all these whites in my image. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to press the Alt key on my keypad, and you can see that this changes. In English it says intersect. So you'll push that, and then I use a color range. So you get a color picker here and you just select that white area, and you can see if you turn the overlay on and off that Lightroom does an awesome job to select only those white sides of this image. So that's what I did, and then I went up here and I just pulled on those yellows here. So I'm making these whites, and I'm actually reducing those whites also. Just a little bit more. I'm giving them a little bit more color because it helps this image a lot. I think something like this. I forgot a piece here, so I can just add it with my pencil, or it is a different color. No, it's not a different color. You can see I'm just adding those that it matches the rest of the image. No, it doesn't have to be that precise actually. I think this is about what I did. And then another trick that always works, if you go down to the tone curve, which is the second box on the right side, I always pull those blacks down a little bit and those whites up a little bit. You get this really nice contrast of it, and it's really subtle, because if you do the before and after, you can see it makes a major difference. But I didn't do that much to this tone curve here. I think I actually went a little bit too crazy here on this particular section. I think there's a little bit too much red in it, so let's reduce that. I think this is about it. It looks nice, yes. I think that's it. I didn't do that much more to this image. What I'm going to do some noise reduction, because it's a long exposure, but you can see there is not much noise in it, but just a little bit. So I'm going to hit this noise reduction key here, and this wasn't even possible on my old laptop, and in my new one it just goes really fast. So hopefully I can just show it to you here. I'm going to do the enhance here, And you can see how fast this computer is processing this image. So I'm really, really pleased with this computer, especially for the video editing that I'm gonna do later with this video. It just helps me a lot, saves me a lot of time. So it's already done. We have the finished file here. You can see you got an enhanced HDNG image, and it just reduces that noise in this particular image. I'm going to enhance the sharpness a little bit, right click, and I'm going to say edit in Photoshop 2024, because there's one last thing that I want to do with this image. So Photoshop has opened this image. You can see it actually needs an update. What I did, and I don't like this particular section up here, so I'm going to select the clone tool here on the top, and I think it was a real easy fix here for this tool. Let's have a look. This actually takes a while before Adobe finds what I want in that particular section. So yeah, you can see that it actually did a pretty fine job up there. And then I just used the other tool, it's the fast, and there are a couple of leaves in that water that created these stripes down here. So I just want them to be out of my image. So I'm going to just slide over them and check the whole image from top to bottom. There's a bit of a scratch here. There are some scratches over here, 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 and here. It's all due to this long exposure, and I'm just checking this image, and I'm gonna do this a little bit more quicker, so I'm gonna speed up this image a little. So I think that's it. I think I cleared all those stripes from those leaves from the image. So I'm gonna say save, and Photoshop turns it back into Lightroom. So let's have a look at this image in Lightroom. So we've got the file back in Lightroom at the moment, and you can see if I do it like this. This is the image that just got out of Photoshop, and this is the before. So we have the before on the left and the after on the right, and this is actually a comparison. The right side is the edit that I just made with you watching, and this is the edit that I did on my own a couple of weeks ago. So you can see there's not much difference, especially not in the colors. The only difference is I can see that I made this image a little bit wider on the left side. You can see I left a little bit more space, which if I look at it now, I think this is better, the left side. But there's not much difference between how I use the colors in this specific image. And I think it's all to do with a certain style or a certain approach on how I handle things. But I don't do much more than this usually. It's just a bit color grading, highlights, shadows. Yeah, I think that's it. So nothing too crazy. It's all in the image. Only those raw files are really flat, and you just need to enhance those colors a little bit. So that's it for that image. And let's just do one more. I think we have some more time for that. And I'm going to do a little panel here. So this is one from recently, one of my recent videos. I'll put a link up here if you want to see this video. Just epic conditions in this one. So I'm going to do this a little bit faster. Well, I'm going to edit this particular panorama here with this beautiful golden light. So it's actually all those images. You can see down here that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shot panorama. So I'm going to select all these images, right click, and then combine these images as a panorama. So you can see after I did that, the image comes into the panorama section. I usually just go for the middle one, but I usually choose the one with the biggest cut that I can make. So I'm going to do this and then add those together. You just have to wait for a couple of seconds until Lightroom has really processed this image. Well, this is the image combined as a panorama. So the first thing I am going to cut this into the right size for this particular image, and I think it's going to be something like this. There's nothing disturbing on the edges here, so it's a very clean edged image. Then I'm going to choose my color profile here, and you can see if you just go to Adobe Landscape, it just has these little bit more rich colors. Nothing fancy, just reducing those highlights on the top a little bit, pulling up those shadows, and you can see that this white slider does a lot of work in this image. It's just really nice, and the blacks just a little bit down, not too much. A little bit more clarity and a little bit more or less dehaze. So you can see it's exactly the same as in the last image. And in this image the trick is all in the calibration section down here. So let's go down and let's have a look. So I think I went for a little bit more of a warm approach here. So I pulled this a little bit to the left. And you can see that if I go to the left and the right, it makes a massive difference to this image. So I'm going to enhance those golden colors, and especially this blue one. Just have a look here what it does to this image. It just gives it that punch, and you can see the before and the after. You know, it's just really subtle, but it just pulls up those colors massively. So I really like this style of colors here. So I'm going to add a mask here with a linear gradient for this foreground here. This section, I think it's just a little slight touch too dark, so I'm going to light it up a little bit, not too much. I think this is about it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of contrast here. Once again, the tone curve, blacks down, the whites up a little bit. You can see it makes a slight difference if I do the before and after. And I'm going to dehaze it a little bit further. I want to that hazy feel in this image. Then I think those yellows got a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to slide this a little bit more to the orange side, and the orange a little bit more to the red side, and you can see that it really turns it from gold into this warm morning glow, which I really like personally. You can see in this image there's just no blue, so I don't have to be afraid of that calibration section down there. Just adding a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow, and I think this is about it. The only thing that I think I did, you can see there are some light rays coming down here, and I think I enhanced these a little bit with my pencil, so I just usually go over them a little bit like this. You always have to be careful to pull a bit of that the lines that are straight and that they match the original lines, because it won't be nice if you mess that up. So, and you can just add a little bit, this is just really slight or subtle, of your exposure and a little bit of those blacks. And then usually down here in the clarity section, you can let it come together, and you can do it a little bit more, I guess. It does have to still look natural. So it's always a combination of exposure up here, your black tones, and then you can adjust it with your dehaze section here and just make it look a little bit better. So if you go to this here and you see the before and the after, before and after, you know, it's just really subtle, but I just enhanced those light rays a little bit in this image. So I think I'm just going to raise the overall exposure a little bit, something like this. I think that's pretty nice. And just let's have a look. This is the image that I just processed, And this is the original edit that I made a couple of weeks ago. And you will see that it probably looks a little bit different, but every time you edit an image, you do it a little bit different. So it's very difficult. So let's have a look. Yeah, I think I went for a little bit of a warmer tone in this image. You can see these colors are just a little bit warmer than in this particular one. So I don't know where that difference is. Let's have a look. I didn't even add anything here. It's just all in the calibration. I just went for a little bit of a different calibration this time, I think. But yeah, actually quite keen with the image that I processed right here. So these are two images, some quick edits of these particular images, and yeah, I hope you like them. I hope you can use these tips and tricks in the future for your own videos. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you like these kinds of videos and if you want to see more on my channel of this particular video of editing tutorials. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next video. This Sunday I'm going back to Belgium on some epic snow conditions again, and yeah, I'm just really pleased with that. So yeah, a proper adventure. So I hope to see you this Sunday. If you like the video, don't forget, please push that thumbs up button. You will massively help this channel. And there's also a subscribe button underneath this video. If you push the subscribe button and push the little notification bell, you will get a message when I release my next video. So every Thursday at 6 p.m. and every Sunday at 10 a.m. I release a new video. And it can be something like this, a photo editing tutorial, but most of the times it's on location, shooting some new images. And yeah, I hope to see you this Sunday. So for now, bye bye.